So school is around the corner, and due to COVID, that means that a lot of colleges and high schools are doing online schools. And for a lot of people, even doing that mid-transition through the last semester of the school year, kind of felt a little awkward because they just didn't really have too much preparation for it. This video is going to be very important for people that are doing online school because this will help you get organized, makes you feel a little bit more prepared for the future. As a person that's been doing online school for the past couple years, I know all the ins and outs. My first tip is try to buy the online textbook only. You don't need both the code and the textbook if you have that preference, because later in the tip I'll tell you the reason why it's a bigger advantage of having an online textbook. Second rule is that there's 3 styles of online classes. There's ones with set meeting times, meaning that there's specific times that you are getting that lecture, so it's very crucial to have attendance. There's semi-set. It's going to be a little bit more open-ended, but there is usually one day that you do have to attend the meeting. So a lot of times college professors will tell you to sign up for it for the first week of school. Third one is a free-for-all. Pretty much it's your job to have your own set schedule. Those are my personal favorites because I get to pick and choose the days that I want to do my classes. It's really nice because I can do my own organization. If we were going to prioritize any of those, let's say that you have a mixed bag of those classes, always prioritize the set one first, so that day will be specifically for those classes, ones with set meeting times. The second one is the semi-set, so try to work around it. Just be prepared for the meeting that you guys did set for that time. And then of course the third one is the free-for-all, pretty much free-form. I'm not saying that you should slack off on that one. I'm saying that you have to prioritize which ones are going to be on a set schedule. With online classes, you can get carried away without checking deadlines, but it's important to always have the syllabus handy on your desktop or computer to just double check when deadlines are due, group projects, tests. You'll always remember which days are important for the class. Some classes have set schedule days for testing, meaning that a test can be open on Monday, but you have until Wednesday to do it. Most of the tests that you're going to be taking online are all online, of course. I know there are some classes that do have hybrid, so you do take the test in person, but especially during COVID, they just want to reduce that number, so majority of the classes will be online and the testing as well. Just because it's online does not mean that there's no time limit. There are time limits for testing, so always be prepared for the right amount of time that you have during the test. A lot of them give you 60 minutes to about 90 minutes. It depends on the course and how many questions there are, but just be expected that each test will take about an hour. Big mistake that I know a lot of people do is that they start the test when they have only a fraction of the time. I used to do this all the time, like, oh, I can do it in 30 minutes. Then I realized that I can't do in 30 minutes because the test is a lot longer than I thought. Only take the test if you have more time than needed. Be prepared that each question for multiple choice will be about 1 to 2 minutes each, just so you can rethink about the answers and make sure that you pick wisely. So definitely don't cheat, because cheating is a penalty, and a lot of syllabus states about the cheating policy, so you can even get expelled and all your grades will be nulled. Always double check if you answered each question, because I've made a mistake where I actually skipped the question, but good thing nowadays our testing system is smart enough to say, hey, you forgot to answer number 19, so you're able to go back. But always double check all the answers. Just make sure that you're selecting the right ones. I know if you have like a 60 question quiz or test, it does get tedious, so you might be answering for another question, so just double check, it doesn't hurt. And after the test, if you are able to retake it, some of them, it depends on what subject and what teacher, some of them give you double chances or second chances, and they just have a second version of the test. Sometimes they give you 3 chances. It just depends on the professor, but majority only gives you 1 time. After the test, you can actually review which questions you got wrong, so you can put it on like a faux study guide. But this is only for some tests, depends on the teacher. Once again, other times you can't review it, but you can see what answers you did get wrong, but they won't tell you the answer. And there's other times where you can't just look at the test at all. Depends on the teacher. Quite a few teachers do offer practice tests, so I highly recommend doing that, especially before final or midterm, just so you can refresh your memory and kind of expect what's going to be on the test. A lot of short classes like mine, I only have about 1 month or 2 month classes, they don't actually have midterms, so kind of be prepared for that. When you're taking the final, that includes everything that you learn. Depends on the subject. Sometimes some classes do have midterms, others don't. A lot of times when I take a 8-week course or a 5-week course, it does not have a midterm, so be prepared to know all the finals. But the advantage of taking shortened classes is that you get a little bit more freedom at the end of the semesters. A lot of good professors do provide study guides just so you can be prepared what's going to be on the final or tests. Take advantage of that. I would highly recommend it just so you know what's going on there. Biggest advantage that you can have. And very rarely, there are some classes that do have group finals. I had one class that did it, and we basically had to work together on Zoom, and we answered all the questions the same as ours. It's very important to be participating because the professor will say, hey, how did this person do? Well, let's go on to the next section, and that's the study portion / the lecture portion. A lot of times when you don't have a set schedule, there are no real lectures other than an archived lecture that was in the past. So a lot of times professors do expect you just to read the textbook as your lecture, but take advantage of, if you're not much of a reader like myself, I don't really like reading too much. I usually watch the lectures just so I can get the concept down. This is why the textbook, online textbook, comes in handy, because they actually have text-to-speech features on there. And if not, you can go to any of these links to do a faux text-to-speech lecture. Just kind of be prepared for some hiccups here and there because sometimes it doesn't get the spacing right. I like to do it because it's like a fake audiobook, so you don't have to actually read the book, you can listen to it. If you're not a fan of the lecture itself, you can just read straight from the textbook. This is why I'm a huge fan of online textbooks, because they have that feature, so you don't really have to read the book, you can just listen to it. And some of the websites, you can actually download the text to speech, so you can actually take it everywhere that you go, or if you just want to play in the background, it's super handy. So let's talk about the homework assignment itself. A lot of homework assignments are due by the end of the week, kind of depends on your class. Read the syllabus, like I said, but be prepared for group projects. I myself do not like group projects, but in the world of business, you are expected to work in a group. Be prepared for what we call individual group projects. A lot of times professors want you to work individually and then you guys submit as a group project. Sometimes there's going to be someone that assembles everyone's papers together, and then there's other times where you just submit your own work and then it kind of like automatically combines. I don't know why professors do that, to be honest. You guys are just doing individual work and then you can be working by yourself. Professors will expect you to use Zoom, Skype, or whatever communication like meeting times that you do need to have. So be prepared for set schedules, as in like we meet at 7 p.m. on Sundays or Monday 9 a.m. just so you can have a set time. With these group projects, be prepared for getting reviewed by your other classmates. So if you are not participating and if you kind of leached off of your classmates, they can give you a negative review so you actually don't get any credit for the project. It's very important to keep in communication and participate with the class. A lot of times you'll have a group leader, other times you'll have people that do like all the technical work, and then other people that are the presenters. But it's important that you guys play all the roles. So be prepared for these styles of group projects. Make sure that you keep up with communication just in case you guys vacation or if you guys are sick. Tips about group discussions. I myself do discussion boards, but it's now been reducing ever since I started my new college. But this is a form of participation for the class. So you basically have a concept that you have to talk about, and then you have to usually respond 2 to 3 other people. It's very important that you do respond to people because it shows that you are participating and that you're going above and beyond. Just don't do too much and don't do too little. Just do the right amount. Usually I shoot for 2, depending on the professor themselves. Sometimes they want you to do 3 response. The key to having a good response, because a lot of times professors don't like when you just say, I agree, I disagree. You have to put more effort than that. So say, I agreed with your concept because these points are very valid, and I think adding this point makes your argument more valid. Or you do the opposite. It's easier to disagree with someone. So just say, I don't agree with your response because of this. Remember, be respectful when it comes to responding. But all you have to do is say, I disagree because of my reasoning. And that's an easy way to get free points basically. A lot of times they give you 5 points per week. Those add up. And last thing, if we go deeper into the syllabus other than checking deadlines, but the grading scale, it's important to check which ones are priorities. A lot of times they'll say 10% participation, 60% tests, and then like 30% homework assignments or vice versa. They'll have different percentages, just depends on the professor. Prioritize which ones are the bigger portions. A lot of times it's the homework assignments that are the bigger portion of your grade. But if you guys have any questions or if you guys need any more tips about taking online classes, just comment down below and I can answer them for you, or I can do a follow-up video. People need this video because of COVID. So I just want to make sure that you guys are prepared. As a person that's been doing online classes for 4 years, it's super important to make sure that you stay organized and you're doing everything that you can to get the best grade as possible. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully you guys do the best in school.